if you ask why, you can gain so much more trust than just telling them, well, this is how it's going to be.
Hi, it's John Bernadovich, your host of the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome to Season 3. I've embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope of finding what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. On today's show, I'm so excited to have Caytie Matti. We've been very persistent in putting this podcast episode behind the scenes. We've had a lot of snafus schedule-wise and some internet issues, but we are here now and super excited to have Caytie on the HR Like a Boss podcast. Caytie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John. I'm excited to be here.
Very first question I have for all my guests on the show is, how would you describe the purpose of human resources?
First and foremost, I think that as a human resources professional in an organization, you exist for everyone that's on the payroll in that organization. They're all your customers. Treat all the people in your organization like a business owner would treat their clients, and then treat those that you're recruiting as potential clients. And then you can add on from there, but at first you need to treat every person as a client or as a potential client. And like I said, I report into our managing partner, but if I'm going to take a call from him at 6 o'clock in the morning, I got to be willing to do that for every person at every level in the organization. And I would do that. I think I would service, every person in every position the same way.
So let's talk a little bit about a successful career in HR. You talked about your initial entree into HR and your expressed gratitude to ERC for that. So tell me how have you, or how would you suggest an individual listening to the podcast right now to build out such a successful career like you have?
First and foremost, you must love it. And if you don't, it's not the right career for you, because it's not a job where you're going to add some numbers up and they either equal out or they don't. You're dealing with people, and you might be doing all the right things from an HR perspective, but people might not be happy with you. And so if you don't love it, things like that could really be damaging. So love the job. When opportunities are presented to you, take advantage of all of them and ask for more. Advocate for yourself. Ask why. It's really important, I think, to be inquisitive. I think that HR professionals can get kind of a bad reputation for not asking why. Someone comes to you with a concern, and if you ask why, you can gain so much more trust than just telling them, well, this is how it's going to be. I know, for example, at Swagger Coil, the person that cleaned the facility one day came to me and said he hated his job. And, instead of just telling him, well, if you hate it, then leave, I just asked why. And he said that he hated his job because another employee was washing his feet in the sink. And then the person that cleaned the facility had to clean this sink. And so then I asked the person that was doing that why, and it was actually because of his religion. He needed to do this at a certain time during the day. So we found a place for this employee to do that. And then the person cleaning the facility didn't have to deal with that anymore. I think when I look back to philosophy class that most people are required to take, at the time, I thought it was so unimportant. But those questions like, is this desk really a desk? Is the chair really a chair? Like, why do you feel like you hate your job today? Why are you washing your feet in the sink? Stuff like that. I think it can make your job a lot more fun, and it can make people a lot more receptive to you.
Now, one thing you mentioned while we were, in one of our previous meetings was this idea of reporting to a CFO and then eventually reporting into the CEO, managing partner at your current role. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just curious as to what that migration was like, because I know a lot of HR professionals do report into finance, and sometimes that works well, and other times maybe not so much. So tell me about that transition and what the value's been for you to report in directly to your CEO.
Sure. Well, I would say first that reporting into finance has actually been positive for me. When I started at Swagger Coil, I reported into someone who was the controller at the time, and he had about a team of 6 people, but he wanted to do a lot more in his career. And so he hired me, and he hired a cost accountant. And I wanted to do more. And every time I asked for more, he would give it to me, because the more that I took on, or the cost accountant took on, the more that he could take on. He ended up getting promoted to CFO. And then now he's the general manager of that company with about 250 people reporting to him. And I mean, he was probably my best professional mentor. He encouraged me to go back to school and just kind of like helped to teach me how to be a really good professional. And that was a finance person. And at the same time, while I worked there, I interacted with the owner of that company a ton, but didn't directly report to him. And then at my current firm, I actually was hired by the managing partner, who actually no longer works at this firm. And so shortly into my time here, the managing partner was no longer the managing partner, and someone new took over. And I just feel like it's really hard to do anything in HR that's impactful if you're not aligned with your leader, if you don't have some sort of connection to them. And so not so much trying to report into him, but just to kind of figure a little bit out about him. When he was elected, I sought out his secretary and just asked her about him. She said he was great. She wouldn't want to work for anyone else, which was reassuring. And then I just asked him if I could get on some sort of schedule to meet with him, to talk about, anything that was going on in HR, anything that I could do to kind of help with his transition too. And he gave me every other Tuesday at 7:30 in the morning for 15 minutes. So I just said, I'll take it. And then it was great, because I found out like his vision for the firm, or things that he wanted to do, were very much in line with things that interested me or that I would love to work on. And it got to the point where we talked almost every day. And I think it was maybe around the end of last year where the offer was presented to me to report into him. And I think that it's a great opportunity. Like I said, it's the first time ever in my career where I work for someone that really could outwork me. I mean, I can't, I couldn't, I never thought I would get to the point where I would tell someone give me a minute to catch up on all that you've already given me. And then I just, but every, I was almost nervous to say that, because every project that comes my way is it's profound, and it's really increasing my skill set, which I think, I feel like your education and your skill set are things that people can never take away from you. And, I'm really excited about what I'm doing and to the future of the firm.
Well, Caytie, you've been awesome. I'm going to get you out of here on this. I ask all my guests, the last question is the same. How would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
I would say it's someone who, going back to that original point, treats every person like their internal customer. Someone who is willing to come into their job every day. And if you've done something great the day before, then it's time to start over again the next day. So never stop giving 110%, and treat people the way that you would want to be treated.
Caytie, fantastic job. Hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating or review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.